What's up, otakus? How you doing, buddies? Turns around here. Um, Happy Friday. Let's see. Let me like camera point it in the right direction here. So yeah, it's Friday. I made a comic book purchase today, and we'll go over it. So I'm gonna reveal what the books are when they get here. They're getting here probably sometime next week. Um, the UPS, well, the guy I bought it from, he's going to ship them out tomorrow afternoon. And so UPS is saying it'll be here by next Friday. But again, if he gets it out Saturday, it's in Texas right now. I don't imagine it would take all that long for it to get here, unless it really is traveling like UPS ground, like it's being driven here. It could take longer. But either way, yeah, it should be here by Friday, next Friday, so a week from today. So hopefully, when I get it, I generally go live and do the unboxing. But I got 3 books. I paid $36. So like it was $25, and the guy charged $7.99 for shipping for 3 books. Yeah, I mean, it's coming via UPS, I guess. I just feel like that's a little bit steep for shipping, even though it is $3, $8 for shipping. But I did kind of talk him down I got basically talked him down $5. But yeah, with tax and shipping and everything, it ended up being $36 total. And that's for 3 books, but the 3 books are signed books. They're signature books. And yeah, they're 3 signed books. I thought, for $36 or like $13 each, I thought it was well worth getting it. So again, we'll reveal what that is, but that takes a big chunk out of my budget right there. And I had like 50 some dollars going into Destiny City Comics. We had some plans to sell some books at Destiny, or to Destiny City Comics. And my plans are kind of in flux right now, because I was planning to sell my books and get something like, let's say, $160 or so for them, and then with the 50, I was gonna splurge on one big book at Destiny City Comics. Now it remains to be seen how much I can actually get for these books, and if the remaining money I have, which is like $15-16, if that will sufficiently cover the cost of that book. We'll have to see. But I'm just hoping it doesn't sell until this summer, because I know come summer I should have some weekend supplemental income coming in, and that should be able to just buy the comic outright. Um, and that weekend supplemental budget will also go toward Rose City Comic Con and hopefully a big Jim Lee signature package. And that Jim Lee signature package, it got thrown into some flux too because SummerCon just announced something huge that's recalibrating summer plans again. And I'm really torn because Michael Rosenbaum, Tom Welling, Kristen Crook, and I think her name is Kendra Vanderhoot, Hurt, the girl who played Kara, Supergirl on Smallville. The four of them are coming to SummerCon, and they're signing, autographs. So you can get they have photos, prints. You can bring your own stuff to get signed. But yeah, you're basically you can get a photo. Like it's a whole thing. I could care less about the photo, but I do want to get the all of their signatures on the two Smallville books I have. But it all comes down to cost. So I know SummerCon autographs are not cheap. I mean, they get as high as like $100 per autograph. And if it's going to come in it, if I'm going to I at least want to get the trio of signatures, Tom, Kirsten, and Michael. I don't think we can afford like the whole quartet of people. But that'd be great. That'd be awesome if I could get all those Smallville cast members. Who knows? Erica Durance may come too, like Lois. So it's something I really want to do, like take part in, get my comic book signed by them. But it all comes down to budget. Like, first off, you have to get the ticket for SummerCon, which is going to be, probably $50, and then what those autograph packages are going to cost. And if it's over $100 for the package for those three signatures, meaning if I have to pay over like $30 per signature, we're probably not going to do it. But if it's around $30, if it's $100 for the three autographs, I think I'm in. So I have to check the pricing, but something tells me it's going to be a lot more than just $100 for the three signatures. And in that case, we just, it would have been nice to do the whole thing, but I mean, as much as I love that show and as great as all those cast members are, it's not like the end of the world if I don't meet them or get their signatures. So we're going to get into today's grading session. And today's grading session, I've actually prepared quite a stack of books here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. We've got 8 books that we're going to grade. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm kind of feeling under the weather. I think my wife was, she was like coughing and thought she might have had COVID. But I think whatever she had is now affecting me. I don't think it's COVID though. it just feels like just some congestion. Um, yeah, I'm feeling okay except for the congestion. So we'll have to see how much it lingers. Let's see here. I'm going to do this one last. We'll start. All right, so we're going to start with this book here, Lois Lane, number 76, Silver Age book. We'll get to grading. All right, so this is a book I got at Jeff's. It's a low grade book, you know, it's got issues. And we'll go over what we think the grade is. There's just sort of this kind of like the age of the book has just created this sort of dinginess throughout the book. It doesn't look terribly sharp or clean. And you know, that as much as we'd like for this to be like a mid-grade book, I don't think it presents that way necessarily. Just going to give it a nice little wipe here. I know when I got this book, I wiped it up, but I'm just going to give it a nice little wipe. See if we can't get looking a little cleaner. Yeah, the book's complete. Just again, it's a little dingy looking. We've got creases, but nothing really, no ugly creases like color breaking. Everything's kind of just subtle. Like we've got a crease here, but it's not like it's a very subtle crease. We've got sort of a crease there, some micro creases all throughout the book. Got some just a ragged spine. So all in all, yeah, I'd put this at a 4.0. I guess a 4.5. Man, it's beautiful on the inside of these old. Got some Lana Lang, Lois Lane, Superman action there. Always have this just beautiful artwork in the. It's nice. All right, so yeah, I'm not seeing any like pages missing, or just give the back a little glance. Nothing seems to be cut out. Pages are rather supple still. It's not dried out to the point where it's like brittle. Yeah, I think 4 or 5. Great on. Well, yeah, I'd go. It's somewhere in between a 4 and a 4.5. This may even be pressable. It's not all that dry. So I'm gonna go 4.0. Gonna be one of those harsh graders. It's definitely like mid-grade, you know. Yeah, I wouldn't put it lower than a 4. I wouldn't quite put it at a 5 either. So yeah, I think 4 or 5 is fair. Presents pretty well. This is I think a Kurt Schaffenberger cover. At least it looks like a Kurt Schaffenberger cover. I'm not all entirely sure, but yeah, we'll go 4 or 5 on that. I'm just gonna get my Lois on my Lois Lane. What was this? 76. Excuse me. This is a Wayne Boring cover, not Kurt Schaffenberger. So Wayne Boring, we're gonna go 4 or 5 on this grade. All right, moving right along. We've got this is a Bronze Age Lois Lane book. I actually really like this cover. And I don't think we ever sufficiently cleaned this book. Can do a little bit of it now, I guess. There we go. Very similar, I would say, in grade to the previous book. You've got some micro creases there. I think overall it looks more vibrant. It's not as dirty. But in terms of the spine wear, some of the subtle like micro creasing here at the corner, it's very similar to the previous book. Just gonna take a look at the back now. Oh, we've got some we got room for improvement here on this surface dirt. Just wipe that off, see if it comes off. We may have to do some eraser time. What do you think? I don't know. That's not looking like eraser's gonna do much there. I think the cotton pad. There we go. Yeah, the cotton pad's getting a lot of that dirt off. Some of that dirt's just baked in. So we've got some, like, I don't want to, they're creases for sure, but they're kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like it was, looks like it was, that's weird. It's like a crease, but it's not sure what the source of the crease is. Just maybe it's a weird one. Maybe it was pressed and it got pressed all funky, or maybe just it's like warping, but there's a little bit of, you can see it right there, like there's that crease there. Difficult to, and there's just this like warping there. So I think this could benefit from a press. Yeah, there's just sort of this like, there's just stress creases. Not sure what caused those. And then let's take a look in the inside of the book. The artist on this one is, who was it? Let's take a look. It is John Rosenberger. John Rosenberger. No, I think the cover is somewhat different. Cover is different, but yeah, I just love the cover art. Whoever did that. It's really I'm just gonna see if the back has any cutouts or anything like to that effect, and I'll just show a cool panel on the back. Got like a DC Extra. This looks to be like Silver Age Batman. Maybe like a reprint or something in there. That's kind of cool. Oh, that looks to be Golden Age. Got some Golden Age inserts in there. Who's this? Rose and Thorn. Who's our illustrator here? Does it say? Hope it doesn't. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna put this at I'm gonna keep it at the same grade, like a 4 or 5. It's not. I think in terms of like presentation for just the front cover, it's better than that previous book, but the back cover is not looking so great. So I think overall it would equate to what that previous Lois Lane book was. So I'm gonna go 4 or 5 on this one as well. Again, this front, if it was just the front, it'd be a 5.0, but the back. So the cover on this one is Bob Oxner. Bob Oxner, the cover for this one. And we're going to go 4 or 5 on this one as well. I need to get a new USB connection. My keyboard always ends up getting disconnected. All right. So yeah, we got some mid-grade grading out of the way. This one is definitely low grade. We got Superboy 141. I love this Superboy cover though. It's just such good stuff. So yeah, I mean, just looking at it, there's like a big stain here at the top. I believe this cover is like detached. I'm just gonna take. Well, the cover's still attached. It's missing a big chunk out of the first page, though. Someone decided to cut something out of there. Maybe like an ad or something. You can see the edge here. It's just really tattered. So this is going to be like, I want to say it's going to be somewhere like around, it's a 2 at the moment. I'm going to give it a 2, like a 2.0, because of the interior cutout there, as you can see. What else we got? This is just so funky to see all these old ads. Now this is way before my time, so this is just, there's no real nostalgia on something like this. It's more like, wow, it's like a A little bit of a history lesson. Yeah, surprisingly, the cover's still attached. That's a good thing. It's just dingy, very, very dingy. In fact, I don't think I ever cleaned this one, so we can, I guess, give it a little bit of a clean and just be gentle with this one, though. So I think I know what, in that previous book when we saw the rippling and that kind of like folding, I think I know what caused that. It's just humidity. And very subtle humidity, like just to the point where it's not like a lot of moisture, but moisture nonetheless, and then it kind of airs out. So this is kind of the same. I'm seeing the same kind of effect here. It's more pronounced on this book. And there's a lot of dirt on this book, man. It's dirty. So good thing we got a chance to do this. Now, like, I didn't really do anything to this book because it looked like the cover might be falling off and all that. I didn't want to like open it and aggravate that if that were the case. But the cover is actually pretty resilient on this one, and it's just a lot of look at how dirty this one got. A lot of just residual surface dirt on this one. So let's see if we can remove some of this. Just going to be very careful with it. Again, this cover is just incredible. You got Superboy, I guess, agreeing to if he lost the fight, or if he won the fight, Superboy agreed to kill this guy, and now he's regretting it. Superboy doesn't want to kill him, but somehow he got tricked into agreeing to fight him to the death, and now he has to pony up and kill him. Yeah. Why, Superboy? Why do you get duped into homicidal acts? All right. What's going on here? This cover, this era, I just love the era, especially the cover art of this era. So I don't mind if I can pick up Silver Age in this grade for just a couple bucks. I forgot. I forgot how much I paid for this or where I got it, but I couldn't have paid more than a couple bucks for this. And I just want to say, like, this is if I can pick up more of stuff like this at this price, I will do it. From this era, the Silver Age. So I'm really like Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, Superboy, Superman, Action Comics, any like Legion of Superheroes, anything from this era that has Superman or the Super Family involved is just stuff I want to add more of. So so the grade, I'm gonna stick with the 2-0 on, well, it's actually in a lot better shape than I thought. But the cutout and everything, so I'm gonna just keep it at a 2-0. I think 2-0 is a fair grade, given all there's just a lot of watch out. There's just a lot of, there's staining, there's creasing, there's like stress lines. The edge is really, really like worn. In fact, just want to, yeah, the edge is really worn. I have to take this out again. Be very gentle here. I want to, these edges ended up getting stuck up. I don't want that. I'm going to keep that as, I'm just going to add a little, do my little wood glue thing just to keep those edges down. And all right, let's see if this works. All right, I think that's as good as we're going to get it. Oh, here's another little chunk here. Flip that. Oops. Oh, that's just chipped out. There's nothing to salvage there. Yeah, now when we put it back in, we're just going to be extra careful not to get those edges raised. And there's a way to do that. Before I just kind of slid it in there. This time I'm going to just keep that edge fairly slack. Come on. There we go. All right. Keep the edge. There we go. Took a little longer than, but yeah, now the edges they're not sticking up. And that glue is just gonna keep those edges down. Hopefully keep them nice and in place. Now it looks a lot better. It doesn't look like it's, those flakes are gonna flake off. It looks like it's a little bit smoother. Yeah, before it was Wasn't looking so good. All right, so yeah, 2.0 grade on this one. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are just, you know, why are all your books in such crappy condition? It's because we don't spend a lot on them. Yeah. So 2.0 on this one. All right. This next one is not going to be as bad in terms of grade. I think this one actually is a decent. It's going to be. I think it's just going to be just a better grade overall. And it's a beautiful Neil Adams cover here. Got Superboy, 158. Beautiful interior, looks great. Yeah. Looks like Superman finds his parents in outer space, which is kind of cool. We kind of all wanted that, right? To like have a reunion with his biological parents. Something's amiss, though, it looks like. There we go. All right, so yeah, we got the complete book here. Back looks decent. Front looks decent. I'm gonna put this at a solid 6. I'll put this solid 6.0. There's not much. There's not real any creasing. There's just a lot of spine stress. No major creasing. Maybe one little corner error issue. Doesn't really breaks color a little bit, but that's about it. So yeah, I feel good about giving this a 6.0. It's a great cover. 158. Neil Adams cover there. Go with 6.0 on this one. Beautiful. I mean, this is something I wouldn't get it graded, but it would look good in a slab. At a 6.0 maybe. Could get higher. I mean, it could be a 6.5. Wouldn't be anything higher than a 6.5, but I'm going to go 6.0, solid 6.0. Beautiful looking book. All right, so nice mid-grade book there on a early Bronze Age book. This one has issues. It's a low-grade book. It's looking like a 3.5. We'll dig into it and see where we land. Yeah, just first impressions, 3.5. We got a little chip there, crease there, some staining. Staples book is attached still, but not by much. And let's see if we can get this looking just a little cleaner. Oh yeah, I'm getting this dirt off and it's looking cleaner. That's what we wanted and that's what we're getting. All right, so let's do some more clean time here. Look at that. It's coming off. All right, just do this gently. That looks a lot better, doesn't it? I'm hoping you can see what getting all this dirt off there. The camera doesn't want to focus. Come on. There we go. See all that dirt? It's a lot of dirt. I just feel like a lot of these books, you clean them up and they just goes from like just improves the perception that it's not in such bad shape. Look at that. That's what we're talking about in terms of the dirt. Yeah, it's still a 3.0. Sorry, 3.5. Oh, we got a tear back here, so we'll just drop it to a 2.5. We got a little fold here. We're gonna take this out, get it straight. There we go. That's unfortunate. I mean, it's a big chunk like that. Yeah, I'd put it at a 2.0. Just the front looks way better than that, though. But that big chunk doesn't help matters. I'm just going to see if the book is missing anything else. Just a big chunk of the back cover ripped out. That doesn't look to be anything else wrong with the book. Yeah, no rips or anything else on the interior part. Again, the cover's still attached. There we go. Yeah, so just that the back cover issues. Let's put some glue on there. Keep that flat. There we go. Don't mind actually just adding a little bit of glue here and just having it adhere. I don't mind that at all. Because I'd rather have that stick there than age, flake, and fall off. So, all right. So yeah, this one's, I'm going to put it at like a 2.0 as well. That big chunk missing in the back. Maybe 2.0 is given the front, how well good the front looks. 2.0 is, I think, a good compromise. It's a major flaw. The big chunk. Whoops! Hang on. There's the corners sticking up. This is another instance where I don't mind gluing that just for posterity's sake. There we go. Keep it down. Just keep it down like that. All right. Well, let me know what you think of the grade. Am I being too lenient on this one? I think 2.0 is a fair grade. We've just kind of been sitting and swimming in this. Again, like, it looks fabulous. It's just the back has a big chunk missing. Overall, I think, though, Like what? I don't think. I mean, you could go like 1-1-8 maybe on this one. Maybe we'll do 1-8, but it's not going to be like tremendously. Yeah, I think 2-0 is just a little too generous. We'll go 1-8. 1-5 is too much of a too big of a downgrade. Just go 1-8 on this one. All right. This is another Neil Adams beauty of a cover. Love it. All right. I'm really hoping this one. Is I don't discover major issues with this next book. But we'll see. All right, so this is another just one of my favorite Neil Adams covers in the collection. Just gonna give it a nice wipe down. This one has that similar sort of creasing on the. And again, I think it's just it's that exposure maybe to some humidity, and then when it dries out, it caused that crease. I'm not sure what causes that, but this one has a huge one right across it. Outside of that, there's just some stress lines, nothing color breaking. So, I mean, in terms of pressing, this would be I think, an ideal book to press. Yeah, the back looks like some eraser time could do it some good. Or just a nice little wipe down here. This book's actually not in that bad of a condition. I mean, I would go closer to mid-grade on this book. I think it's that. There aren't too many issues with this one. In fact, it looks really, 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 really decent. Just got some minor creasing here and there. I'll put this at a solid 5 for now. Again, with the press, I think just look a little better. I don't think it necessarily bump it up a grade, but it just make it look a lot sharper. Not seeing anything in terms of missing pages or anything, so cover's still attached. Man, this is just a nice book we have here. Got some Hot Wheels ads in there. Yeah, really nice book. I'm gonna put this at a solid 5. I put it at a 5. It's a decent looking book. So 161, we're gonna put at a 5.0. And in case you're wondering who did the interiors on this book, it's George Papp. As much as we like George Papp, it's the reason we wanted to get this book was because of the Neil Adams cover here. Just a beautiful. You are now leaving Smallville. Gonna quit being Superman or Superboy. Yeah. The sacrifice of Kal-El being the only one of his kind with the gifted powers. All right, so this next book, this is a Kurt Swan cover, and another cover that we just really love here. Rest in peace, Clark Kent. I'm responsible for Clark Kent's death. And then how can this be when Superboy and Clark Kent are the same? It's just that cheesy Silver Age good stuff. And this is a book we got from Dave over at Future Past Vintage Collectibles. And it's got its issues, but I think we ended up paying $2.50 or $3 for this, which fine by me. Like, it's kind of where if you can get older books like this, this looks to have been pressed, I think, but it is very brittle. And art by Bob Brown, Murphy Anderson. Also, it's Bob Brown who did the art on this, not George Papp. This, look at that. I hope that's not mildew. Something's coming off of there. All right, well, it's not really coming off, so there's some dirt here. There's just dirt all around. We got some dirt over here as well. Okay, well, not much we can do about that. Can't tell if someone drew in the book or not, but maybe not. Ooh, I love these Superboy, Lex Luthor, Smallville encounters. It's always cool. All right, well, this, I don't know what this is. It doesn't look to be mildew, but it looks like it looks like the ink's some kind of stain. yeah, maybe this ink rubbed off or something. Not entirely sure what happened there. But yeah, the cover's still attached. There's some creasing, some scuffing here. Overall, I'd put this at a 3.5. I think 3.5 is fair. If it didn't have that big stain, it'd probably be a 4, but the stain and just all the creasing and yeah, I think 3.5 is where I'd land on this grade. Yeah. Don't really get to see the back of the book, so it's not terrible. And again, I was more worried about like detachment, tears, and stuff of that nature. Not seeing a whole lot of that. Book is complete, no major creasing, just that big staining on the back. So, very nice. All right, the last book we are going to grade is something I just recently picked up. Paid $3 for it. Another just beautiful Neil Adams. This is the Superman Family, sort of a larger format, a dollar book. Whoa, it was a whole dollar back in the 70s. I think this was this book from 74, 73. No, sorry, 70, may have been 77. Let me just check here real quick. Superman Family, have it. Oh, I thought I had it. Yeah, there it is. 77. So this book was from 1977. Let's see. This various artists are in here, so we'll get to see who contributed to this book. Again, it's a pretty thick. It's a pretty thick book. I want to say it's like looks like an 80 pager, somewhere around there. There's a lot of issues. First, there's like some staple tears here, but I think the book is still attached. Yep, still attached. Got a lot of pages here. A lot of some stories here. Oh, who's that? Ooh. That has like some Neil vibes there. I want to see who wrote this, who illustrated this story. I'm thinking it is Neil. If that's the case. Bonus. Always love picking up books where Neil's done. Okay, no, this is Win Mortimer and Vince Coletta. Beautiful artwork. Win Mortimer. All right. Got a nice crypto story in there. I don't know. Got a nice Shamu ad in the back. Supergirl. Who did this Supergirl art? Let's take a look. Art J. Delbo and Vince Coletta. Yeah, I saw a recent post on Jose Delbo, and we lost him. He passed away. So rest in peace to Mr. Delbo. And just give you a little preview of his work. That's beautiful right there. Jose Delbo. Yeah, we think when we lose members of our comic book family, we want to definitely recognize their work. That beautiful Supergirl by Mr. Jose Delbo. That's some classic stuff right there. Look at that. Gotta love that. Love her outfit there. She looks like she can, save the world and then go to the discotheque. She's ready to go clubbing and save people in distress. All right. Love this book. The condition is, pretty decent, I would say. Not a lot of creasing going on. I think with this could definitely benefit from a press. I'm going to put this at a 4.0. The staple tears aren't really helping, its case, but overall, like presentation wise, it looks like a mid-grade book. So we're going to just kind of give it a 4.0 grade. And oh dear, hang on. Looks like we gotta do some of that glue action again. Just get a little dab of glue, hang on. These like bent corners are just I don't think we see, I'm sure we see them on modern books as well, but they are definitely on these older books. It's just, you see them all the time. This corner is essentially, we've seen it on every book that I've shown you tonight. And I think a lot of it is the bag and boarding, this motion of just putting the book in a bag and board is what kind of raises that corner. And it can range from like a full flip up, to like just a little corner popping up. And again, the corner's popping up again. Freaking, I doubt we're gonna get that to stay outside of, I think a lot of people's, you can do it where you're going up into the book. That works as well. But then, you're compromising this other corner here. There's really no, magic bullet to, I think this could work. Just tape it up there. There we go. All right. Well, we're going, what was the grade we had this on? We had it at a 4.0. Feel good about that. Keep it at a 4.0. Superman family. Oh, I said 3.5. No, I'm going to go 4.0 on this one. Superboy. What did we get the Superboy? I gave the Superboy 169. We gave that let's see, 155. We get a 1.8. I'm gonna give this Superboy we said 3.5. Yeah. No, I'm gonna give it a 3.0. Did we say 3.0 on the Superboy 169? Just gonna take a look at it again. Yeah, 3.0 is fair. 3.5 is a little too generous because of the back. Getting that back staining. Then again, the front looks really decent. 3.5. Yeah, we'll go 3.5. I've seen a lot worse 3.5s than this one. Okay, that is that. Let me know what you think of the grading. I know, a lot of these are low grade books. This one was actually pretty decent. But I really, I to really want these books in high grade, that's ideal, of course. But if it comes down to a question of like adding them to your collection and having them, as opposed to like having a large collection of them. Hey, what's up, Miss Soul? I was so engrossed in grading, I didn't even check the chats. Kenneth was here, Alex was here, Miss So, Randall, what's up, buddy? Yeah, for me, like, if we could have this in mid grade or higher grade, we'd take it. But it falls in line with my unmyeong. Unmyeong is when it's that fateful meeting between you and the comic, and sometimes it's really up to you whether you pick the book up or not. But for me, unless it's really like tattered and just it's stressful to look at, like this kind of borders on that in terms of stressful to look at. But when you can read and look at the art and enjoy it, that's kind of is a sign that you should get it. And so all these books communicated to me on that fateful unmyeong meeting, that first impression, unmyeong first impression. I'll pay $3 for a mid-grade book like this all day long. Don't mind doing that at all. I'm just wondering what I know. A lot of grading, like the Key Collector doesn't have this in the pricing yet. At least I don't think it does. I'm just going to take a look real quick. See if Key Collectors price some of this stuff. What do we have here? We've got 185. Yeah, they don't have it. They said values coming soon. And I'm just going to check my other app. I use also Comics Price Guide app. And they have it kind of like broken down by grade, pricing by grade. It's not the most accurate pricing, but I kind of take a look at what they have the high grade values at and kind of create my own, my own idea of where the grade where the grade is. Superman Family. It's not seeing it turn up here. Why is that? There we go. Superman Family 185. It is. So this is about like a $15 book in higher grades. But since ours is right around a 40, 3540, they're saying it's like a $2 value. Yeah, like I paid $3 for this. I think I might have, given the condition of the book, I might have overpaid, but I don't mind paying $3 for a, again, I think this is, I'm going to kind of rescind and say this is a 3.5, not a 4.0. Because with the staple pulls, and again, this had that, what did this have? The back on this was clean. Yeah, so yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I could go 4.0 on that. Again, there's no major creasing. It's just everything's very subtle. The staple pulls, it's still attached, so technically, like that's really the major issue with that. So I'll go 3.5. I'll go 3.5 on it. Just those staple pulls are what's, I think, ultimately leading me to pull it down. All right, well, that's that. Like I mentioned, we got some books coming. Again, I ordered some comic books off of Macari, 3 signed books coming. Yeah, really excited for 2 of them. 2 of them I'm really excited for. I think at like $10-12 per signed book for those two artists, it's a real steal. In fact, the guy even told me like he paid $25 back in the day for just one of the signed books. So, given the rate of inflation and everything, I'm actually he's just selling them at a discount. Yeah, I'm just happy to pick them up. I think I got a good deal on them, to be honest. Got a really good deal. And one of the books is kind of like a book I'm specking on. And it's signed. So again, I know I'm like beating around the bush, but I don't want to give the book away until we get it and I can reveal it to you on the channel. So it'll be a week from now. You can tune back in next weekend, or just tune in next week. The book's coming next week, so at some point when it gets here, we'll unbox it. I'm hoping it arrives here on Friday, then we can just kind of tune into a regular scheduled time and reveal that. I usually go on Friday nights, do grading, do all that kind of stuff. But if it arrives Thursday or earlier, then we'll reveal it then. So just kind of stay tuned. And I haven't still made a decision on SummerCon, but I really want to go to the Smallville, get those autographs by the Smallville cast. they announced Kristen Crook is coming, and I kind of told myself, if Kristen Crook comes now, we got to go, and I really want to go now. But I already have a Kristen Crook signature. The only real let me get the book out. I love how I'm instantly able to find my stuff. Like I just have it pretty organized to the point where I can kind of have a good idea where it is. All right, so this is the first. This is like the premiere issue of Smallville, the television show. I think this was like it came out. The book came out like as this TV show came out. So this was that first season, and then the first season was just a huge success. And wait, do I have a signature on here? That can't be right. I gotta look at a photo. So this is sort of like kind of like, oh, we don't know if this is going to be a hit or not, but here's the comic book, that's TV show that's coming out. And then the show was a hit, and they kind of redid another like longer ongoing series. So this was kind of a mini series, this is the ongoing series. And this has the better sort of like, sort of marketing promotional photo. This one's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, they look great, but they just doesn't. It looks like they just kind of extracted images from the television program or whatever. Whereas this is like an actual photo shoot of them individually. So in terms of like what to get signed, I'm not sure. I mean, in terms of value, I think they're both valued about the same. These aren't like expensive books at all. I guess I'd want to get this one signed. The ongoing series. They just look better there. I think the signatures would also just kind of look better on this book. As like the images here, just Kristen Crook doesn't. She looks great. She looks great. Don't get me wrong, but like here it's well lit and she's not lurking in the background. She's kind of the forefront with the other actors. And man, she is just so beautiful. It's like crazy how beautiful she is. And that's really what kept me tuning in each week. Take nothing away from the cast. It's a great cast. But like I just want to see more Lana Lang. I just want to be like, like have Lana Lang kind of look up into Clark's, eyes with those just sparkling green or blue eyes, whatever she has. It's just she's just a real beauty, and like she's just grown more beautiful with time. And I mean, like I see her on panels, and I think she's on a couple. I'm not watching her shows now, but I see her on like YouTube and like speaking on panels and stuff, and she's just such a very smart, charismatic person. it'd be great to get all their signatures on this book. But like I said, I'm not going to pay $100 to do that. I mean, I'll pay 100. That's the limit. If it's $100, if I pay 150 to go to SummerCon, meet them, get this book signed by each of them, and that's that, I think we can afford that. If it's more than 150 for the whole being able to do that, get this book signed at the end of the day, I think we can do without. Yeah. I'm just going to check. There's like a signature here at the corner. You see that right there? I'm just wondering if that's part of the book or if it doesn't look to be like a pen signature. I'm very curious now. Let me know what your thoughts are on Smallville. Love it or hate it? Smallville was really the first kind of WB superhero television series project. And after Smallville came out, I think it bled into like the Green Arrow. It bled into the Flash. It bled into like Supergirl. Supergirl's WB. And now you have just like all these like different characters. I think Justice League, like Teen Titans. I think they did like Gotham for a little bit. Batman. It's just, it spun off all these like DC series. And so it is part of the book. It's not like a signature or anything. It is part of the book. This book isn't worth anything for me. It's just like nostalgia because I did watch the show. I enjoyed the show a lot. It was just, like good comic book content. Like I love Superman. So, they did a really good job framing. I think the writer of the show was Jeff Loeb. And Jeff Loeb is just like, he understands these characters. So he was the perfect person to hit that project. I think they wanted to bring a real kind of relatable story for teens that's centered around Superman, his origins, and these relationships, right? Relationship with Lex, relationship with Lana, and eventually Lois. But you had Chloe and Sam as well. Who else was in it? Like John Schneider played, his dad. Martha Kent was played by Annette O'Toole, who was also played Lana Lang in Superman 3. So it was just like, there's all these like connections there. She actually, in Superman 3, she was on screen with Christopher Reeve. And then Christopher Reeve comes back in season 1. Was it season 1 or season 2? He comes in season 1 or 2 and plays this scientist role. kind of like a Stephen Hawking type scientist role, where he can't speak, but he's kind of like speaking through this computer, and he knows Clark's identity. He's figured out the Kryptonian language and all that, in a really, 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 like, kind of just impactful role in that short one episode cameo. It just had you hooked. That episode had you hooked on what was going to happen. Like, just kind of revealed this little mystery, and it just set in motion all these questions. Even for people who knew, like, we all know he's Superman, right? But we don't know how, like, the evolution of him learning about his past, connecting with his biological dad, and understanding his purpose and all that. That's just kind of like, they kind of leave that out there for us to learn as we journey through the seasons and through his story together. So yeah, I mean, I had the fortune of going, like, watching the first two seasons, kind of rewatching them last summer. I'll probably do more of that. Gonna probably watch. I know season 5 was huge. It's when they actually, like, you got Klana, you got Clark and Lana together, like, just officially together. Didn't last long, but they were together, and it was just like, yeah, it was worth the wait. You waited 5 seasons for that hookup to finally happen, and they embraced it, and you got a good taste of it, and then they took it away. They just took it away from you, and that's one thing. Like, I don't like how they wrote off, like, Lex, and they wrote off Kristen Crook, and they just pivoted the show. It was a big pivot. It was a hard pivot. So when they made that a hard pivot, I think it was like season 7 or so, I just kind of, like, at that point, I was like, yeah, well, the show doesn't. Once Kristen Crook was, like, not on the show anymore, I just could care less. I was really tuned in to watch her play Lana. Nothing against Lois and Erica Durance. She played a great Lois. I mean, she played this, like, kind of like sassy, like, she was on equal terms with Clark. Very sassy, very, like, opinionated, strong, courageous, like, character. Very different from Lana. Lana was smart, but, like, there was a lot of, I think, in her character, you saw a little bit more of the damsel in distress, kind of, someone who trying to be brave, whereas Lois was, like, I think, a little bit more, less reticent. Yeah. But again, their backgrounds are different. They're playing the character because, again, yeah, Lana go through, like, childhood trauma, raised without knowing her parents. Lois, you had her. She's daughter of a general. She kind of knew from day one what she wanted to do, and so, yeah, it was just a great show. If you haven't watched it, you should. I think you can even do it on YouTube. You can just they cut it up into, like, 15, or, like, just they cut it up into like 4 or 5, like, videos each episode, but Um, you can kind of watch them in sequence. You have to watch a lot of ads, but or it just might be good to go to the library and just rent the first season, second season. You just like do it that way. Um, yeah, but yeah, we got a dilemma. They're these three are coming to SummerCon. I'd love to go. Again, it all depends. I just have to look at the pricing. I haven't even bothered to look at that yet. But we'll see. I'm still saving up for the Jim Lee signing at Rose City. That's my first and foremost priority. So I don't want to lose sight of that. But if we have budget to do both, I don't see why we couldn't. But yeah, the Jim Lee signing remains my focus, and we're going to do the big signing, like the whatever the platinum, red kryptonite packages. We're getting that. We're getting the what's the most valuable kryptonite? Pink kryptonite, whatever the pink kryptonite packages. We're getting that. I think in that package, you like get to sleep with Jim Lee or hang out with him on a yacht somewhere. We're getting that package, hopefully. And we'll get some books signed. I'm really hoping whatever package we get, there's an opportunity to get some original artwork. I figure if you're like gonna pay $500 for signatures and whatnot, like throw us a bone here. Like, it doesn't have to be like a fully fleshed out sketch, but I'm sure he has like he doodles at home and he keeps just a stack of like doodles. Just bring like 4 or 5 of those things and just hand them out like candy, and your fans will be happy. I really hope something like that happens. Otherwise, the other option is just to like, hey, I'll pay you more money if you can just do the sketch cover. I think his sketch covers are $750, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. I don't know if I could pay him that much, but I don't know. Maybe just look really sad and say, please, Mr. Lee, I came all the way to you. Can you sketch me something? Anything, please? Maybe I'll just have pity and do a nice, like, Smallville. Do a nice Smallville sketch or something. All right, well, that does it for me. I guess, this is the portion of the show where I talk what's going on during the week. What's kind of going on. Looks like the CGC thing has died down somewhat. I think it's died down because just people are tired of talking about it, but it hasn't. In terms of people, it's still in our consciousness that this issue hasn't necessarily been addressed. We got some details. They're suing their former employees, but no details as to how they're going to remedy the process, the problem, how they're going to improve. Just no transparency on anything. In the meantime, they're just acting like it's business as usual. Like they haven't, there's not a beat to be skipped. We're still grading books. You can still trust us and all this stuff. And that's what I don't appreciate. It's kind of like, you're kind of trying to brush the issue under the rug and trying to make yourselves out to be like these victims, when the process was yours to begin with. And whether those employees had something to do with this whole, mess, it doesn't change the fact that like you can still take advantage of it. Um, if I wanted to, I could still take advantage of it if I wanted to. I'm sure they've put in place something that can recognize you trying to do that, but for the most part, without any kind of like um, tamper-proof seal or any kind of marking on the book, you would really have no clue if I sent in a book that wasn't the original book on a reholdering request. There's just no way for you to verify that, right? So, and then there's the whole issue of books that get graded, put on the census, and then if I'm like, you know what, I think I can get a better grade on this, I'll take it out of the slab, press it, do whatever I have to do with it, and then resubmit. While it's getting graded and put in the census as a new book, a new grade, and that messes up the census numbers. So, what's the whole point of having a census if that's completely inaccurate? So, just a lot of the value that CGC used to tout is just vanished. So, unless you lower the prices or at least address those discrepancies, you're really not doing anything to help yourselves. I'd feel better submitting to CBCS at this point. You lose that in that trust or that integrity in your brand, and that's just the death of your business. It'll be a slow death, but it'll be a death. It's a death coming. So hopefully CGC gets its shit together and addresses it. The longer that continues not to get addressed, the more I don't feel good about submitting books there. Yeah, I mean, it's a compromised service, if you ask me. They can't expect people to continue paying into something that's, yeah. I mean, think about what that $20-$30 you're paying to get slapped. Think about what that $20-$30. That's a lot of money. It's $20-$30 you could put into another investment. So for you to want to grade the book, you are valuing the grading services and the census data and everything related to you being able to maybe resell the slab because it has value, and there's just integrity behind knowing that that book is the book that you submitted, knowing that that book looks great, secure, and I've always said this whole mess doesn't necessarily affect your books that you're submitting, but it affects the secondary market when you're trying to buy a 9095 on a really high key classic book. That's where you need to be careful, because you just don't know what you have. So that's that. What else has been going on? Rob Liefeld retired from Marvel Comics. So he's not going to do comics anymore, unless it's for DC or Image, I guess. He's just not going to do Deadpool anymore. um, which I think he's still rather young to be announcing retirement. He's not. Maybe he wants to spend more time with his family or focus on his family. Maybe he's just at a point where he's like, you know what? Um, I just can't do con shit and draw draw another Deadpool, like a Deadpool, image for or sign my name on another freaking Deadpool book. Maybe he's at that point, but um, in terms of his age, I don't think he's at an age where maybe he feels like. I think he is like in his 60s, right? No, he's just a few years older than me, so he's still in his 50s, I believe. I want to say he's like 5 years older than me. So he's like in his mid 50s, maybe he's in his 60s, maybe he's um but yeah, Jim and him are, I think Jim's a decade older than, oh no, Jim's a good decade older than I am. And Rob is like half of that, so just like 5 years older than I am. Um and um I I grew up in the era of, Rob Liefeld. I think he gets a lot of maybe flack now. Um, People who didn't maybe grow up in that era and they're just looking at his work now. Um, they probably don't understand what the big deal um, about Rob Liefeld is. But growing up, again, the people who, it was guys like me growing up reading those comics like the X-Men's, the New Mutants, the Amazing Spider-Mans of that era, that late 80s into the 90s era at Marvel. Um, I mean, those guys were just like, they were like rock stars. They were rock stars at Marvel. And yeah, I mean, Silvestri wasn't really in that. He was kind of before, because he was doing X-Men before Jim Lee kind of got on, but he was doing Wolverine around that period, and he was just killing it on Wolverine too. So you had this like you just had this tour de force at Marvel with all these great titles and artwork and stories. And yeah, like Liefeld, his work on New Mutants, Cable, like all that stuff was just like, that was probably the best stuff coming out. The Cable, New Mutants, X Force stuff. Which Deadpool's a part of, right? Um, and I just, at the time, Rob Liefeld was just like, as that creator, you're just like, his images, the stuff he was like producing was like porn for high school kids. It was just like, the bigger he made guys, the more like cybernetic he made his characters, the more like, the bigger the guns, the bigger the swords, all that stuff. Like, was just like for kids. It was just like, yeah. Um, and then of course, and the same thing with McFarlane. You know, in that moment, in that time, you just think more like Todd McFarlane's like the best. Those two guys are like the best artists on the planet. Like there's just nobody, you know, better. It kind of put them in this vacuum of like comic book creators without understanding like there's this whole history that you don't understand. And then yeah, you kind of grow up and then you realize, okay, yeah, I was really into their art then, but um I'm into this other stuff now. Like I see the genius in um, these other artists, and that's definitely the case for me. Like I've always loved Jim Lee's work, but Jim Lee was not like my favorite artist growing up. You know, I probably would have put like Liefeld and McFarlane above Jim. Jim was definitely in that same conversation, but I would have put Silvestri and all those guys ahead of Jim Lee in terms of like popularity. But I think what changed for me was like when I was working professionally as an adult, working professionally, and Jim Lee went to DC, and then this happened, you know, like Batman Hush, and like I got back into comics just through like graphic novels. I read um, Man of Tomorrow in a graphic novel format. I read Hush in a graphic novel format. Got right back into it. And I'm just like, that's when I just realized, you know what, Jim Lee is something special, and you know, it just kind of reignited. Like I thought about him, like you know what, yeah, Jim Lee was sort of the best in terms of talent to come out of that group, and he just killed it with the DC characters. Like you know, he was kind of always like X-Men, Wolverine, kind of that was his calling card. But then when I saw like Superman, Batman, I was like, stop the presses, you know, bam, you know, like I think very few artists have that um, ability to waffle through characters and just present like the quintessential, like what you could put on a um, like a billboard. Here's Superman. Oh, by the way, here's Wolverine, right? Like representative, promotionally representative artwork of a character. There are very few artists that can have that range where you entrust them with like the catalog and say, hey, draw this guy and then promote that. Um, they're doing it with Peach right now with Marvel. Marvel is just giving her free reign, like draw every freaking character. So we have a catalog of your artwork on our characters. And then they do it with Jim. But very few artists get that sort of the keys of the kingdom, keys of the castle, unless they're very talented. And as much as I love, you know, like McFarlane and Liefeld, they have limitations. Like Liefeld could never do a Wonder Woman. Liefeld could never do Wonder Woman. McFarlane could do Wonder Woman, but it'd look weird. I'd be interested to see what his Wonder Woman would look like. Um, he can't do Superman because he did Superman once. Um, he did the interiors for I think Superman 400 or something like that. Um, and it did not look good. So, you know, Superman's a pretty it's good to do like Batman and all the cape work and stuff, like with a shrouded face and whatnot. But Superman's just like you gotta just draw a person with a cape, basically. It's not the easiest thing to do, and yeah, McFarlane's Superman looked pretty. Just didn't look like Superman. And then there's times when he does X-Men and stuff, and they just don't like the X-Men. Don't they look too cartoony? They look too they look too like Disney like characters, like big eyes and like sort of like you know not real proportions, like a Simpsons episode or something. So yeah, I kind of just your tastes mature, and then I think you develop an eye for like good solid like pencil work. And so yeah, for me right now, I love John Byrne. I've always loved John Byrne from since I was a little kid to today. You can throw John Romita into that mix. Neil Adams, I'll admit, like George Perez and Neil Adams, uh, I grew up reading George Perez, but I didn't grow up like appreciating George Perez. You know what I mean? Like, there's a big difference. And for me, like George Perez now is like I appreciate his artwork, and the same goes for Neil. Neil was kind of like before my time. Didn't really get to read a lot of his comic books because they just weren't. He wasn't like really working on anything during my era. Um, but yeah, now that I'm like got back into comic books and focusing on the specific works of Neil Adams, I am probably like he's probably my favorite artist outside of Jim Lee. Those two guys are just again it all sort of revolves around my love for Superman. Um, like Mark Silvestri's done Batman. He's done Batman recently, and I hope he gets around to doing a Superman. I'd love to see a Silvestri Superman actually. Um, Romita Jr. Romita Sr. He did Superman versus Spider Man. So we got to see his Superman. Great, did a great Superman too. Really classic look on Superman. Um, we know George Perez is Superman. Um, One Roman. He understands the assignment. So like I think for me like that's a big litmus test for as an artist. Kirby did Superman too. Kirby Superman looked Kirby. It looked like Kirby, you know. And that's what I'm saying. It's like you can have a style of artwork that can work for you um, in terms of your universe that you're creating, and that's great. Like Sam Keith can create his style, his universe in his realm. But when you're given an assignment like Superman, like all of that goes out the window, and you have to. That's a true like kind of litmus test for a comic book artist. Like here is probably the most classic. It's the foundation of our industry, the character that built our industry. Here he is. Draw him, put him in a story, make it work. And I'm telling you, like I think even Peach Momoko could not do that assignment. As great as Peach Momoko is as an artist, I don't think her Superman would be. I don't think her Superman would be what we know the character to be. What we know the character has been basically created, for 80 years by a lineage of um, like old school comic book artists. I don't think she could do that assignment. And there are a lot of artists that could not do the assignment just because they're so entrenched in their artistic style. You almost have to just adopt someone else's style to do Superman. Like you have to look at the kind of the framework of, the character, the suit, the hair, the facial features. You just have to kind of adopt that. And it's, not every artist can do that. Or not every, I think artists can do it, but they're compromising who they are. And there are just some artists that don't have to compromise. Like Jim Lee doesn't have to compromise his art at all. You can just draw the character in his style, and it's done. Frank Miller's another one. His Superman didn't look good. Look, I bring up McFarlane again, but I also bring up Liefeld. Those two guys could not wouldn't be able to do it. They wouldn't be able to do Superman. And if they are going to do Superman, they almost have to fall out of the convention of themselves to be able to do it. You know what I mean? It's like if they're doing it as themselves, it's not going to work. But if they're doing it kind of copying, or just doing what the assignment is, like draw Superman, like draw him cool, draw him like proportional, draw him like, like kind of buff, or just like like a super guy, like a bodybuilder type super guy. That's hard to do if your characters have a certain line and depth to it. Like, it's like even a lot of the modern artists, like, I think it's difficult. So when I see like a Dan Mora, just killing it on DC characters, it's like, yeah, like I love Dan Mora. And for those of you guys who are comic book collectors now, I mean, you guys have so much talent to draw from, to like. You got like David Nakayama, you've got John Boy Myers, you've got, I mean, just a slew of like Archer, and so many talented, like Greg Capullo, just a bunch of people, just like super talented artists. But you also have Dan Mora. You just have Dan Mora, this mix of like talent. And I'm telling you, man, like when it's all said and done, Dan Mora is just going to be like, he's going to slay everybody. Because the way he draws Superman is, it's like he gets the assignment, but he like makes it his own. That's when you have something really special, when you can make it your own, and it's that lineage I'm talking about, right? Like you're paying homage to that lineage because it's the character, but you've made it your own. And it's sort of a balance where it's like, yes, that's Superman. Yeah, that's Superman. And yeah, but yeah, he's kind of, it's something different. It's something new, but it's Superman. It's like, that's when you've aced the assignment. And yeah, so appreciate Dan Mora. And he's still got Jim Lee. I mean, at the end of the day, if Jim Lee wants, like, hey, DC sales are lagging here. Let me put out a couple more. Let me put out some like a run of Superman or a run of Justice League, and it's just going to be like, damn, like the community is just going to be like, okay, I got to pick that up this week. You know what I mean? It's like we're sleeping on a lot of stuff, but when then you get a Jim Lee doing a big book like that, like people go out and buy it. So yeah. All right, what else is going on in the world? Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah, we got Super Bowl. So we got the Deadpool trailer coming up, and it's actually really good timing. I think Key Collector also has. Let me get the book. Get you. I'm gonna just flex for a little bit here. Key Collector just put this book got back on the trending 20, so it's just sort of a countdown between now and the movie going out. This book is just it's been circulating. People want to get it. I got mine signed by Larry with the Arashikage, with Wolverine's blood dripping the Arashikage tattoo right there. It's a sick newsstand edition of Wolverine 88, drawn by our favorite Kubert brother, Adam. So the trailer's dropping this Sunday, and it's gonna open a floodgate of hype and spec buying and hype. I'm just glad I have this book already, because this is and so let me. There's a lot of people out there like saying, this they could, this book, they wouldn't get it, or at least they'd wait until after the movie, because once the movie hits, the price on this is going to tank. I disagree. I feel like this book, before all that movie hype, like if you were smart about it, you got it before any announcement of Deadpool 3 or that Hugh Jackman was coming back. This was like, it was like a 10, I mean, it was a dollar bin book. It was like, had no value. You could probably, if you paid $10 for it, you were like overpaying for it, right? This is probably like a $3-5 book at the LCS for a long time. And then as soon as the movie news broke and people realized, oh, you know what, this is the first appearance or the first meeting or the first battle between Wolverine and Deadpool. I don't think it's their first meeting. It's the first battle, right? Wolverine versus Deadpool. Which is it's a key book. So those of you people, like those are the people out there in the community or whatever saying wait on it, or like it'll go down. I don't think they understand comic books. I just get that sense. If you're saying something like that, yeah, it may be true in certain instances. Okay. That's definitely like a trend. Like a book will spike up and it'll drop down, but not on a book like this. On a book like this, where you see a book literally go from nothing to like book price being $100 now for a high grade copy. To expect that $100 to drop, I think, no. I think it'll retain the value. I think you'll get a little bit of a drop, but it'll recover. This is going to be, especially based on the outcome of the movie, obviously going to play a big part of it. But assuming it's a box office success, right? Wolverine versus Deadpool, or Deadpool versus Wolverine, will be just one of those um, like comic book defining moments. And this book, as really plentiful, it's as plentiful, it's readily available as it is. I think the value will fall somewhere in that $50 to $70 range if you're going out and buying it raw. Okay, right now you're able to get it like 30. If you're lucky, 30, but it's pretty much like 50 to 60 right now. In certain like high grades, you're going to get it, like you're going to pay 100 for it. But that is going to continue to creep up and creep up. And I think at the end of the day, people are going to have their copies. People are not going to be selling their copies. And what you're going to have is like people wanting more copies, people wanting their copy, people who waited on the sideline, couldn't get the copy, now want to get it. But guess what? Price will drop. Then you got to pay probably higher. I mean, like if you could have gotten it now for 30, after the trailer, it's not going to go for 30 anymore. So if you wait till the movie's probably going to push that book up. People are going to sell around 100. Now the question is, okay, what will it be after the movie? I think you're going to have a small window where you can maybe get lucky on a few people just wanting to dump the book. But after that little dump session happens and people still want the book, it's just going to send the value back up again. And that's what you're seeing. You're just seeing and that's what builds the value of a book over time, And yeah, I mean, I don't see this book ever becoming it's never going to be $1 bin book again. If you get it, if it falls to let's say a $20, $30 book, which I don't see it happening, but if it does, that's as low as I'd say it would ever go. Like a $20, $30 book, which is kind of what you're getting it at all last year, right? You can get it as like a $30 book all last year, high grade version of it. But I think soon enough, you're going to see it. It's going to be if anything, I think after the movie, it's going to fall in like the $50, $60 range. I mean, if you're able to get it lower than that, I'm sure. Again, there's a lot of copies out there. There's probably a lot of like 90s collectors don't even realize that there's a Wolverine 88 sitting in their collection. You can probably pull it, I mean, it's going to be a rare instance, but you could probably, I'm not saying it wouldn't be impossible to get it for like less than $10, but from a LCS, like, oh, I got Wolverine 88, what do I sell it for? Book price kind of like figure. It's $100 on Key Collector right now. Okay. The question is, what will it be at right around the movie's release? And what will it be at after the movie's release? I don't see it falling from that $100 book value, to be honest. I think it's been there for a good 2 years, it's been a good year and a half since a year and a half. It's been about a good year and a half since the Deadpool Wolverine announcement, and it's just stayed at $100 for I'd say the majority of that period. And so, yeah, I don't see the value going all crazy up and down, up and down. No, I see it like it went from here to here. It's going to go here, and then it may come down here. It's not going to come down like all this way. So, you know, I know there's a lot of people on YouTube who, I don't know why people do this, but they tell you what to buy or when to buy it. I guess it's the marketplace. It's the marketplace, but there are people out there who tell you when to buy, what to buy, when to buy it, what to buy it for, wait, buy it now, all this stuff. And my whole thing is like, look at the book. Understand, first of all, like, if it's a character you like and it's a book you want, just get it. Just get it. And don't pay ridiculous amounts for it. You can go out and get the book at the price you want in most instances. If you're having to go to eBay, yeah, then you're going to probably get screwed. But if you go to the local SCS or you go to shows and you're just patient, you wait, you will get the book at the price you want it eventually. I mean, if you're wanting this book at $1, no, you're not getting it at that. But if you don't want to pay $100 and you want to pay maybe like $40 or $30, you can definitely get this book for $30 somewhere. Luckily I got this in a trade, and I think the trade value for this was like, I want to say I traded like for 50 or something like that. No, it wasn't that high. Maybe it's like $30 or $40 for this one. But it was a newsstand, so I didn't mind that at all. I'm sure the person, I gotta go back and look at that trade. I'm just wondering if I did not. This is a $200 book now, but at that time when I traded for this, it was maybe like a $30-$40 book. And I think that's kind of around the area I got it at. Because it's got its issues. This is like a VF copy, but man, I love this cover. It's just a great cover. Yeah, I mean, this has all the makings of just a classic comic book. You got just a cool ass cover, good colors. It's a dark, it's hard to get this in high grade. So if you got in high grades, that's a feather in your cap. Great artist, great writer. I mean, what more do you want on a book? It's got everything. It makes a book worth having in your collection. So yeah, just yeah, for all the people saying wait to get the book, there are books to do that with, and there are books not to do that with. This is one of those books where like waiting isn't necessarily going to get you a better price. So I know people are saying wait to get this book until after the movie comes out, and they're saying this like a year ago. And I don't think that was the best advice, because you probably could have gotten this book a year ago for, again, like $20-$30. I doubt you're going to get it for $20-$30 even after the movie. So it's not in all scenarios it doesn't play out the hype and then drop, the spike and then drop kind of trend for all books related to movie spec. Yeah, you know, there are books that actually kind of transcend the value of. This was a book that should have always. It was always an undervalued book for people in the know. And then when you get this kind of momentum, it kind of just like, see, I told you. So look for the undervalued books, and understand why a book has value. Like, you know, there's a lot of reason why a book has value, but understand what that mechanism is, what drives value. I mean, for those of us who collect comic books, I think we inherently understand that. So it's because whatever we like, whatever we buy, that has value. It's just the rest of the market kind of has to catch on and catch up, right? And that's the way I look at this. Like all the books I have in my collection, I think have value and are maybe undervalued to a certain degree. But that's not to say it's that's not to say it will ever have a certain value. It's not to say like, oh, I have this undervalued book, right? I paid $5 for it. In my opinion, it's should be worth more, right? It's not to say that that book will never attain anything outside of a $5 value. But what you will realize over time is people will like, over time, books are going to like come and go. But it's those books that like have that longevity, have that kind of like ability to remain in people's, like whether it's a great story, whether it's a specific run or period, specific cover art, comic panel. For whatever reasons, there's just like a story behind that collectible that will continue to have relevance years from now, many years from now. And that's kind of where I'm saying, like, even though it might be a $5 book, if there's relevance or there's a sort of a recognized key or value to that book, that's all you can ask for at the end of the day, right? And stuff like this, stuff like this, these all have that value. And so in that sense, I think any book can have assigned value at the day. So it's up to you to determine that value, and don't fall into a pattern of like, oh, well, I should get it now because I don't know if that's books I might miss out on. If I don't get it now, I might never be able to get it. Or the opposite. Oh, I can wait on it. I'm sure it's going to fall. Just, that's, I get a lot of books put on my radar And I think the Joker book is a great example. The Neil Adams Joker cover has been on my radar for quite some time. And I had an opportunity to pick it up, I want to say last spring. It was, I think, a 3.5 copy. 3.5 graded copy. Or was it raw? I'm trying to remember. It may have been raw, and I deemed it as like a 3.5. But either way, the guy was like, he had it available for $200. And I was like, hey, can I get 200? I was like to my wife, can I get $200? This is just a great deal. And she's like, she looked at me and like, no. And so I couldn't get the book. And then I had like $400, and then nobody had it. There was just no copies around me that were available for sale. And then I wasn't able to get it online either because, the cheapest I could have gotten something like in the 3 range was like 400, right? So, and that's kind of where I drew the line. I wanted a 3.5 or higher copy for about $300, $400, and I just couldn't get it at that time. Now I am seeing 5.0 graded copies go for 300, and I'm seeing that now, and I'm like, well, I guess now would be a good time, or maybe within now and the next 6 months, hopefully, it may be a time to revisit that. So I don't want to give up on my. I mean, I just need $300 to $400, and I might be able to even get it like a nice mid-grade slabbed. Oh, that would just be phenomenal if I can get that book in mid-grade in a slab for $300 or $400. So I'm excited at that prospect, because before I would have paid $400 for a 3.5. I mean, $200 for like a 3.5 is one thing, but $400 for $300 for a 5.0, that would just be even better, so I think that's the book we're going to be looking at, and we're going to build up. I don't want to get distracted with all these other, we're going to try to avoid picking up. I mean, we'll pick up dollar books, but what I'm saying is, like, I got the overflow. I'm going to try to get rid of that. And so everything I add is going to create new overflow, but it's either going to be really kind of like the high-end books like the Neil Adams Joker cover, or like really cheap pickups of stuff we're calling core PC books. And so a lot of stuff ticking in, and that's the thing, like what that core PC thing is, that I have it pretty much established, but the target does move. Like the specific targets do move. Like I'm sometimes focused on this book. When we pick it up, that focus shifts to maybe another book, but it's always kind of like, it's like a moving target in terms of what we decide as a priority for picking up. All right. What else? there was some other. Oh yeah, I've been reading Snyder Capullo, Dark. Sorry, Dark Knight's Death Metal, and it's. I find it entertaining. I find it entertaining. Um, it's, but it's not. There's really no like real substance to it. Um, and it really, in terms of originality, even it's just sort of this like remix of the Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's just taking the Marv Wolfman story of like, oh, here's this sort of powerful, you know, cosmic entity that rewrites history, and then we got to go through like a series of like, you know, escalating like missions or things to finally like meet the big baddie head on and do battle and restore everything. And it's so like that I mean, I know that's essentially what we pay to read each week, but how creatively you do that and how kind of tropishly you do it is that's where that's where the real talent lies, right? In terms of writing and creating. I just find like Scott, I normally like Scott Snyder's stuff, but in this instance, I figure it just feels cliche. I love Capullo art. The Capullo art actually makes it like work because it's a lot of like these just like, really kind of horrific, fiendishly looking like evil Batman characters that provide just a lot of the compelling reason to look through and keep reading. But yeah, the story is just so, it's just boring. There's nothing original about it. You just got a new evil guy, the Batman who laughs, who's a great villain. Don't get me wrong, he's a great villain, but it just it just kind of I expected more from it, and as it's not horrible. I won't put it in the horrible category, but I'm not going to put it in this like, wow, it's blowing me away category. Um, it just feels like it's not the most original, thoughtful thing, and that's okay. And not everything has to be like, um, original and groundbreaking and innovative and like, wow, that's something we've never seen before. Not everything has to be that way, but I just feel like with these crisis like timeline stories, they're gonna do crisis, and maybe they should stop. To be honest, like DC should just stop um, reworking the crisis angle. Um, it's just I wish they'd stop doing it in general. Like, like can we just get out of these like multiverse reality type storylines and just get back to like you know things that are going, things that are relevant, like stories about like extremism or stories about like real like you know uh, like social issues that are happening, you know, in our society that need to be kind of fleshed out. I think um, it seems like whenever you try to tell these stories, people like view it as political, and it causes a lot of division. Like really, let's really flesh it out and like get to the source of like why people think a certain way, why you feel like you're entitled to um, put yourselves above another group of people. You know, let's really flesh that out, because it just sometimes feels like stuff like that takes a backseat to like these crisis stories. But anyway, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's just kind of whatever. I'll, I mean, I'm kind of in the middle of it, and I'm just debating whether I should waste time, continue to read it, or maybe be surprised at the end and maybe there's a twist. Um, I just don't see it. I just think it's going to be rather cliche in terms of the ending. Um, One thing I just downloaded from my library, so we can read ebooks as well. I just downloaded. Um, what did I download? Hang on just a moment. Gotta look up. I'm just blanking on the name here. Where are my ebooks? Doesn't have my ebooks on here. I'm blanking on what the ebook app is. Football, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I just downloaded. Okay, so here are the books I have downloaded. I have Spider-Man: Vengeance of Venom, which um, I love Eric Larson. I love his Spider-Man. Um, and I'm gonna get to read Superman: The Many Worlds of Krypton. Okay, and this is who's it written by? It's story by E. Nelson Bridwell, and the art is by Murphy Anderson. Um, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. It's like a 4-issue kind of mini series. Maybe it's three or 4-issue mini series, but um, it's starting off pretty interesting. It's Bronze Age, It's not going to be anything like. Again, I think a lot of the modern stuff it's a better read than some of the older stuff. But I mean, I'm thinking this is going to surprise me in a lot of ways. So I'm very anxious to read this. Excited to read it. Yeah, there's some Dick Giordano art here in the I guess like as a backup story. I guess there's a series of on there's one ongoing story and then a series of backstories. Just really cool. So it'll just be a nice little, I think, read. Um, so that's that in terms of what I'm reading. What are some other big things going on? Um, oh yeah, another thing I'm really excited about is Jon Stewart's coming back to the Daily Show. How cool is that? Um, I think that's going to be like he's coming right at the perfect time too, as like Biden Trump just starts amping up and ramping up. Um, the political news cycle is just going to be, it's going to dominate everything in terms of our discourse. But to have kind of John Stewart's take on what happens on the campaign trail, and if there's a debate, I don't think Trump's going to debate Biden. He's just going to continue to talk in circles at his events, but he's not about, he can't debate real issues, he's going to just, yeah. But anyway, like, just get his take on this circus is going to be so fun to watch. I'm already enjoying sort of there's like, he's starting to kind of do more on social media now. He just did something with his dog. It was really funny. So again, I'm just looking forward to more of that. The humorous yet, he always has like a very, like, a funny way to show you the absurdity of a specific, the absurdity of things going on, to kind of make you think and reflect on what's at stake. Whether it's climate change or whether it's the election. He's just got a funny way to bring attention to it. And maybe you take something away, maybe you don't. Maybe you love Jon Stewart, maybe you don't. But for me, I've always appreciated that about The Daily Show. It still is hilarious. But now that he's coming back, it's going to be like, you have that Daily Show engine, and you got Stewart there kind of manning the ship. It's going to be just glorious. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't have The Daily Show, but I will be able to watch. There's just so much like kind of social media replay on that, so I don't feel like I'll miss a beat in terms of, even if I'm not able to watch it live each night, I will be able to keep up with the highlights and the jokes and all that. So that's going to be a fun thing to keep up with leading up to the election. So the things I have coming up, I got 3 books that I'm going to box here next week. Just got them today. It was kind of an impulse buy, but the guy had it up for a really great price, and we were able to kind of talk him down a little bit. So I just pulled the trigger, because again, it's hard to find deals like that. And there's nothing really like terribly, I don't think it's like a book that's, it'll never be like thousands or hundreds of dollars, any of these books. But they're definitely, like, to me, are like ones when I think like, oh, I like that book. Oh, if it was signed, that'd be great. And so I have kind of like 2 of the 3, I have that. I'm like, yeah, I want that book signed by that artist. I want that book. I mean, I want a different book signed by that artist, but that book would be okay too. And that's kind of where I landed with 2 of them. The 3rd book, I like the artist a little. He's not my favorite artist, but I like him. I'm just kind of indifferent on him. And the book I've never heard of, so that's a book we may just kind of like, maybe add to the sell pile or whatever. But um, I felt like the other two books had, at that price, had enough. I think one of the books could easily, you know, qualify for the full value of all three. But definitely, like with the two of those books, I feel like the value's there, even at that price, $36 price tag. Um, but yeah, it's getting late and got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow, being that it's the weekend. So gonna try to get a um, just an early, get to bed early kind of night. I'm already feeling like just the fatigue like kick in. So gonna wish you guys a nice evening. Thanks for joining the grade along and the chat after. And yeah, shout out to some community members. There were a lot of people at MegaCon. Looks like everybody had a blast. I really liked Cantonese Comic Kids, his posts. Bueller's posts, Comic Tom's posts, Fire Guy Ryan's posts. Sleepy Reader Damien's posts on. He had a nice little haul video, and just sort of like the backstage moments with community members. That was really cool. But yeah, there's just a lot of cool postings regarding MegaCon, and it was nice to see. I would love to go out there one of these days and partake in all that. But we'll see. Like, I'm kind of pretty focused on just doing stuff locally, and hopefully I can get out to Rose City and hang out with that Portland crew. Because I think that would be, and I think SummerCon's another opportunity, because I know those guys were up here last year for SummerCon, and I think this year's, in terms of the names and stuff, it's looking like it's going to be as good, if not better. I think the comic book talent coming up is actually kind of, it's on par with what was available last year. I imagine they're just gonna have more names, so we'll keep our eye on it. I definitely want to go. It's got to work with our budget, so we're keeping it as an option. So we'll see. All right, it's gonna do it for me. Peace out. Stay geeky, stay otaku. Tour guide out.